What in the name of whole wheat toast is going on? Welcome to another episode of the Unmasked History of Scooby-Doo, the podcast where we delve into the mystery of Scooby-Doo media, getting clues from people who helped bring our favorite mystery-solving dog to life on various platforms, and maybe eating some Scooby snacks along the way. I'm your host, Alexa Lawler.
We're just solving mysteries. All the kids are doing it.
No, they're not.
What have you kids done now?
You can call me
Mr. E!
Welcome to the third episode in this month's Mystery Incorporated theme. Today we have lead character designer Derrick J. Wyatt. Derrick has done character design for not only Mystery Incorporated, but also for Transformers, Teen Titans, and Ben 10. I don't want to give away too much of what we'll be going into in the interview, so let's just get right into it. Hi Derrick, how are you?
Not too bad. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat to me today.
Oh, thanks for having me.
If you're up for it, I would like to start with a quick 3-question trivia game.
What if I refuse?
Well, I guess that's fine.
No, I'm kidding. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So question 1, the Hex Girls, who appeared in 2 episodes of Mystery Incorporated, have had how many appearances in the Scooby-Doo franchise?
Oh my gosh, I have no idea.
I'll give you options. A, 3, B, 6, or C, 9.
Oh, I guess I'm going to say 3 because I only know that they did the one movie for sure, and then the 2 Mystery Inks. I don't know any of the other ones if they were in other episodes.
It's actually 6.
Ah,
They were in 2 movies, and then What's New Scooby-Doo, Mystery Incorporated twice, and they were just in an episode of Guess Who recently.
well, good for them.
Yeah. And question 2, which supporting character in Mystery Incorporated was consistently frustrated at having his name mispronounced?
Would that be George Avocados?
Yes, it was. And question 3, what is the slogan for the town of Crystal Cove?
The most hauntedest place on Earth?
Correct.
Yes. 2 out of 3, not too bad.
Not too bad at all. And to kick off the general questions, what's your relationship to Scooby-Doo? Did you grow up watching?
Yeah, I grew up watching Scooby-Doo. I kind of grew up in the dark ages of Scooby, the scrappy era. So it was like 13 Ghosts and that kind of stuff. But also, when I would come home from school, they would have, in syndication, they would have the first Scooby series and the Scooby movies, which I really loved. I would always hope the Batman episode would be on, or the Addams Family. And I liked like Laugh Olympics, and even Pup Named Scooby-Doo, I like that too.
And do you have a favorite personal memory related to Scooby-Doo at all?
I just remember, coming home from school and hoping that Batman episode would be on. That's kind of my favorite memory of Scooby.
And how did you come to work in animation?
Well, I started in I think at 1999, interning at Spumco for free, and then eventually I got my foot in the door at Warner Brothers, and then kind of went from there. That was started my real, actual career in animation.
And was that something that you had always wanted to do?
Yeah, I kind of. I originally kind of wanted to be either an animation or a comic book artist, but I kind of when I was in school, the bottom fell out of the comic industry, and I really liked the new Batman adventures. A lot of cool cartoons were coming out, and it kind of influenced me to go that direction.
Do you remember a specific moment when you realized that character design was something that you wanted to do at all?
Yeah, it was. There was a Wizard magazine that had all those the redesigned Batman characters in the New Adventures of Batman, and I just remember thinking I didn't realize that you could take these characters and make them so much cooler than they were before, and I just instantly knew that's what I wanted to do.
And how did you come to work on Mystery Incorporated specifically?
Um, let's see. They asked me to do some early character designs, like I think Sheriff Stone and the Slime Mutant, and they initially wanted them to be in classic EWOW style, and I couldn't do it. I that was my that was my attempt. My attempt at drawing in EWOW Takamoto style is what kind of became Mystery Incorporated style. But I had always kind of wanted to work on a Scooby uh, DVD or something. I thought it would be fun.
And for people who maybe don't know, can you describe what the role of a character designer does?
Sure. We sort of set the templates for all the characters you see in the cartoon, establish their looks and proportions so um, they're consistently animated and they look like the characters you know and love.
And can you just describe what maybe a typical day of work on Mystery Inc. was like?
Hmm. Well, I don't know if there was a typical day at Mystery Inc. Uh, we would start with like a story breakdown meeting where we kind of go through the script and we'd assign out characters, which character designer got what character, and then we kind of go back to our desks and come up with some rough ideas of what we thought, and then if those roughs were approved, then we take them to a more tight stage that the board artist could use, and eventually we clean them up and then send them off to the ink and paint department.
So, are your designs always based on what's going on in the script? Have you ever had to work with like just a name or something?
Um, yeah, I'm sure I have. It's not always described in the script, and a lot of times Tony Cervoni would have a photo reference from 1969 that he would want us to use, or maybe he'd have a like in the case of Professor Pericles, he had a pretty detailed sketch of how he wanted Pericles to look, and I just translated that into the style of the show, kind of.
Okay. And what's your specific design process?
It's a tedious and horrible process with a lot of erasing and a lot of false starts. Uh, I start out, and on Scooby, I would take a big size comp, and I would take a little tiny post-it, and I would draw the character's silhouette in so it fit kind of in with the rest of the cast of the show, and then I would take that little tiny post-it and blow it up and refine that character, and that's where it kind of came from. Oh, a huge part of the Scooby design process was our reference library. We had actually gotten catalogs, clothing catalogs from 1969, and would reference those things for the show, because nothing. The whole thing was like the design didn't evolve past 1969 in this world. It stopped there. So it was really fun to adapt that stuff.
And are things still done by hand, or is that moved more towards working on a computer?
It's still done by hand. Even when you're drawing on a computer, you're still drawing with your hand. You know the color process is a little bit more click and fill, but even they have to draw out the shadows and stuff. So I still work on paper for my roughs, and then I kind of move those into the computer. And go from there.
Were there any challenges in designing for Scooby?
Well, like the initial challenge was I couldn't do it, so that was. But the other challenge, I guess the biggest challenge was the epic scope of the show. Even though I'm used to working on kind of big action shows, the scope of Scooby would be crazy. We would have like an entire prom one episode, and then the very next episode we were going to the Knights Fair, and the pirates were crashing. So it was like it's almost like designing two completely different shows with different settings and different characters, or even the same characters in different costumes. So just the scope of the show was really hard. It was really challenging.
And what was it like to tackle these iconic characters?
I love that. That's one of my favorite things to do is kind of do take on these kind of big iconic characters like that. So it was just a lot of fun, and I tried to put as much of my love and respect for the characters into the designs as I could.
And you mentioned that you had that reference library and you were kind of working off the original, but did you have any other inspirations for the designs for the characters?
Well, sometimes it was the actors. They'd want to capture not a caricature of the actor really, but like a hint of the actor, so you could enough that you would it would feel right with his voice coming out of or his or her voice coming out of the character's mouth. I can't think of anything else offhand like that right now. Um, yeah,
And do you have any specific examples of a character that was maybe designed off the actor?
yeah, but I can't remember the actor's name. It was the guy from he's from Community. He plays the dean in Community, right? And then was he the publicist of the Crybaby Clown?
Oh, yeah.
Um, I'm trying to. I'm butchering this, but that was just the first one that pops into mind. Is kind of like it doesn't really look like that actor, but it's just enough that like it seems right with that voice coming out of his mouth, at least to me.
And what was it like to work on designs for a darker version of Scooby-Doo?
It was fun. I was like, because the villains were never not dark design wise. They've especially the original guys, they're pretty scary for kids. So and even I think of that. I think of the werewolf screaming "Help! Help!" while he's paddling down the river, and it's like that's creepy. I don't know, but it was just fun to amp it up a little bit and bring a little more. I don't know what you want to call it, a little more horror into it.
And did you have a favorite villain that you had worked on?
Um, it's always hard for me to pick favorites. I tend to I have to kind of tell you what I'm in the mood for. I guess I really liked Chargar where you kind of put Cthulhu in a Cenobite dress, and I just liked how he came out. I really love that episode too. And I like the gnome too because I tried to make the gnome look like a Rankin Bass design kind of. He's really wrinkly and has a big bulbous nose and stuff.
Definitely.
Yeah, those are the ones that stick out right now.
Okay. And what was it like to develop some of the more villains from myth, like I believe the Manticore and like the Hodag?
Yeah, I mean that's just like it was cool because you get to look up a different kind of reference for that, like see what with like the Manticore and stuff, you could see what the ancient interpretations of it were and what everybody else has thought of it since, kind of. Um, I think again I tried to make that a little Rankin Bassy. That's like has kind of a Smog's wings and stuff. And the Hodag, I think Brienne Druhard designed the Hodag. That was um, based on a real myth, right? A real local legend or something.
Yeah.
And the guy is real too, right? What's his name? I designed him, I think.
Gene
Oh shoot.
Shepherd, I think.
Yes, Gene Shepherd. Yeah. What is that? I wonder what the Gene Shepherd estate thinks of that. That's one of my favorite. That's the cheese episode too, right? That's one of my favorites because of I love the design for the cheese shop owner and his little assistant that turns out to be the monkey.
Yeah, that one is a fun one.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of really cool supporting characters in the show as well. Do you have any favorites that you had worked on or just ones that you really liked?
Well, obviously, like Vincent Van Gogh is probably my top favorite. He just getting to bring him into the show was really cool, and we got official sanction from his estate to use his likeness and voice and everything, which was awesome. They were really excited about it. And they wanted a hand painted animation cell, so we did a little animation cell for them special.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, it was awesome. Oh, and also like I love Fred's dad, the mayor, and Sheriff Stone. I like Janet Nettles too. I think her design came out really cool. The color they used on her outfit came out really awesome.
And what was it like to grow up watching 13 Ghosts and then, be able to recreate Vincent Van Gogh for Mystery Incorporated?
That was cool because I kind of got to take the cool part of 13 Ghosts and leave the rest of it alone. It's not horrible, but it's not my Scooby.
And there's one of the episodes that starts off with Daphne and Fred in the museum with like the statues of Scrappy and
Yeah.
Flim Flam.
Right.
Do
Yeah.
you work on those?
Yeah, I drew those. Yeah. That's funny. Is Flim Flam's original voice actor was Susan Blue, who was I worked with her as a voice director on Transformers and Ben 10.
Awesome. And why do you think that the style of the character designs worked so well for, like a darker show and like an overarching theme?
I think that I think we've had so many generations of animators now that have grown up animating a sort of Bruce Timm style, and they really get that kind of more angular style. And especially the studios Warner Brothers uses, they've been using them, for a long time, and it seems to really translate well, I think, into motion.
And how do you think that character designs contribute to like how the show looks in the final product?
Well, it's the most important thing, isn't it?
Definitely.
It's a big part of the show. I mean, it's obviously, if you have great characters and nothing else, you're not going to have a successful show. But it's like what they say about food. You eat with your eyes first, so you kind of judging the book by its cover by the character designs, and then if that pulls you in, then then you'll give the story a chance, maybe.
And how do the character designers maybe work with the people who are designing the backgrounds?
Oh, well, there's sort of we'll design the characters, and then they'll design the backgrounds in simultaneously, and then the color stylists, Brian Smith and David Patton on Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated, they were the color stylists. They'll take the characters and color them, and then kind of plug them onto the background and see if it works, and then they'll tint them to the background if they need. So and they did a lot of affected color. And Mystery Inc. has a lot of special color. So that's a very important job to make sure that characters live in those backgrounds.
And I wanted to talk about the designs for the Hex Girls.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like to update their designs as well?
Torture. I went through so many versions of Hex Girls. I think I only designed No, I didn't design any of them, actually. I took a pass at one of them, but they didn't end up using it, I don't think. So I don't even remember. It was all hands on deck. That one that was designed by Hex Girls, designed by like 10 people, probably.
And why was it such a process? Was it to like keep the integrity of the characters, or?
Yeah, I think Tony just had a real specific vision in mind for what they should look like in Mystery Inc. And we were getting close, but we just weren't quite getting there. We got there in the end, but it took a while.
Okay. And also for Marcy / Hot Dog Water, did you work on that one?
I did, yeah.
And what was your process for that?
Well, the funny thing is, so originally I designed her, and the body was exactly the same as Hot Dog Water, but she had my friend Brianne Druhard's face instead of the current face. So that's what I turned in originally. And then they're like, oh no, Linda Cardellini's going to play this role, so she needs to kind of reflect that in some ways. So I made a kind of nerdy character that Linda Cardellini. It looked like Linda Cardellini could voice.
Okay.
But it was just like 2 versions for that, so it was pretty quick. She was pretty fun. Oh, and then they originally colored her in like lavender and pink and green and stuff, and I'm like, guys, look at no, it's like her coat is the bun, and then mustard and ketchup, hot dog. And they're like, oh.
I didn't even notice that.
Yes, yep.
I was thinking it was like to play off of Velma.
Her coat even like kind of looks like bread in a weird way, like the wool part of her coat.
It does. Oh my goodness. And one thing that always amazes me is like the texture of the wool in that sweater. How did that work?
I can't specifically remember what I think I just tried to make it look bready, right? And then added some like kind of textural notes to it.
Awesome. And what about the color palette for like the supporting characters? Does each person kind of have their own design that way?
Yeah, most of it, like I said, was done by the color stylist. They did that, but some of them were like you can tell like all the Rogers family is a greenish color palette, and then the Blakes all have that royal purple, and so things follow rules and have palettes, and the others like kind of like case by case, the individual characters that come in and out.
And did you often have input in like if you had a specific color palette in mind?
Sometimes, not super often. I didn't. I'm trying to think of what. I know the one thing I had specifically mapped out color wise was when Haycraft had he was writing the teen novel, and was trying to think like a teenager, so he had plastered his room with teenager posters, and they were all old Hanna-Barbera shows, and so I had to kind of do a color guide for that, so like they could plug in the right colors, because that was pretty complicated.
Oh, okay.
Nobody remembers those old characters except for me, so.
And speaking of those older characters, in the Mystery Solvers Club state finals,
Yeah.
did you work on a lot of those as well?
Everybody loves that episode, right? But it is, for me, the most disappointing episode of Mystery Incorporated, because I didn't work on a single one of those mystery crews. They were all just reuses of their classic stock model sheets from the Hanna-Barbera library, and I wanted to redesign them. I wanted it not to be a dream at all. I wanted it to take place for real, and that's why they would unmask the Funky Phantom, because he would turn out to be a regular person in the end. But they just they thought there were 2 reasons, and one was we were really far behind on schedule, and it was another giant episode that they were super scared of. And the other reason was that our executive producer didn't think that Jabberjaw belonged in the Mystery Incorporated world. He just thought it was too far out. And I had like an hour and a half intense discussion with him on why Jabberjaw should have been there, but I lost.
Oh no. How about Dynamite then, since you came in on freelance for that one?
Yeah, that was super fun. I love those classic characters. I kind of wish we had done a Scooby-Doo or like a pup named Scooby-Doo flashback, so we could adapt a few more of those kind of classic characters. But Dynamite was super fun. I didn't get to do any of his transformations though. Those looked awesome in that episode.
Definitely. And what was it like to come back on freelance after not working on the show for a while?
It's always hard because, you have another full-time job, and you want to do your best, and and especially since I love that character, I want to put my best into it, and you're already worn out from putting all the hours into your normal job, and you have to go to try to muster the energy to do that. But it's just one. It was just one character, so it wasn't that big of a deal. Um, and I would have done it, no matter what, because it's just too good of an opportunity to pass up.
And why did you leave Mystery Incorporated?
I got offered an art director job, promotion on to head up Ben 10 Omniverse, and I would be working with one of my best friends in animation, Matt Youngberg, who I worked on Transformers with, and I just I was really sad to leave Mystery Inc., but I just felt like I couldn't pass up that opportunity.
Definitely. Yeah, that totally makes sense.
Plus, Ben 10 was going to have lots of cool toys, and Scooby never got any toys, and I really wanted toys.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
I know. Have you seen the new one, the Funko ones, where you can take the masks off the villains and they get
Yeah.
revealed to be that? I totally wanted something like that for Mystery Incorporated. I thought that would have been really awesome.
Oh, that would have been really cool.
I have they did a man crab figure and a freak in those faux Lego figurines, and then there was a set of figures that came out, but they were just not great. There was like a box set of figures, but you could tell it was Mystery because Velma had bows. That's the only way.
Fair enough. And where did the idea come from to give Velma the bows and kind of update her look?
That was Tony Cervoni's idea to do the bows, because we had just been the idea of giving Velma lips had just been rejected flat out. They said no, thank you, and then Tony was like, what if we give her little bows? And I was like, that's a really cool idea, and they went for that. It just seemed, it seems like it just doesn't seem like it's outside of what Velma would wear to me. It seems like yeah, maybe she could wear little bows in her hair. I don't think she would mind doing that.
Yeah, I could totally see it. And I want to go back to the toys for a second.
Sure, yeah.
If you could have created a line of toys for Mystery Inc., what would you have done?
Oh, I would have like a line of action figures, and like I said, I would have like all the monsters have removable masks, so you could unmask them, and I would love to see little like trap toys, little play sets with traps and stuff, and like a haunted house play set. I don't know, just like all kinds of cool stuff like that. A mystery machine car would be really cool.
That would be so much fun.
They did a pretty good job with all the Lego stuff that came out.
Yeah, the Lego sets are pretty cool. And what was your opinion on the show in general? What did you think about, developing the relationships between the characters and things like that?
I thought it was cool. I especially, like you mentioned earlier, one of my favorite parts is just adding all the secondary characters and the townspeople, and not only did the Mystery Inc. kids have relationships to each other individually and as a group, but they had relationships with the townspeople too. And it's just a lot of fun to like see Hot Dog Water show up before she ever does anything really, or Skipper Sheldon, just show up every once in a while and do something weird, and then have 7 brothers or something.
Yeah, there's like 6 of them all with the same name.
He was when I was designing him, Tony kept making me make him bigger. He's like, no, bigger. He's like, bigger. And I was like, how big do you want him? He's like, do him like Marv from Sin City. I was like, oh my gosh, okay. Can that exist in this world? I guess it does. So.
And Mystery Incorporated was really the first show to have a lot of those reoccurring supporting characters and really just an overarching storyline. What was it like to be able to work on that show?
I think that I'm so glad I worked on this version of Scooby. I think this was the one. This is the one out of all of them that I would have picked to work on if I had my choice. And I'm just super glad that it worked out that way. I think, man, it was just so much fun I love world building, you know, and Crystal Cove is its own little world. It's so full of every little every little thing is designed so cool, like down to the phones and the hair dryers, and you know, all the cars on the road. Um, that's actually that's all. Jerry Richardson was the prop designer. He did all all that cool stuff. The locket, and just love all the little details and everything.
Definitely. And if you were ever able to work on another Scooby show in the future, would you take it or?
Um, I don't know. I don't know if I'd want to do another like series, because I don't know how I could ever top the experience I had on Mystery Inc. I just don't think it could get better than that. But if they wanted to do a Mystery Incorporated versus Teen Titans, I would be there in a heartbeat.
And speaking of that, you sent me the Teen Titans version as Mystery Incorporated. Where did
Yeah,
that come from?
that's from we did these little shorts for a short-lived Saturday morning series on Cartoon Network called DC Nation, and they were little shorts, and they did a sort of sequel series to Teen Titans called the New Teen Titans, and there was an episode where Mad Bod was kind of sending them back in time, and when they got to the 70s, that's what they looked like.
And the fans, there's a lot of fans that I think Mystery Incorporated is either, you know, like maybe a love it or hate it show, but there's a lot of fans that really want a third season. Would that ever
Oh,
be possible at all?
like like them starting over from scratch and stuff, or like would it be like, I don't know. That would, huh? Interesting. I don't know. I've never really thought about it. I've only thought about like what else you could do within the confines of the like season 1 or season 2.
Okay.
I don't know. But yeah, it would be interesting. And maybe they could do like a direct-to-video movie, or even a graphic novel or something, kind of show what happened.
Definitely. And were there ever any characters that you designed that didn't actually make it into the show, or did everyone get in there?
Oh yeah, oh there was a fake shmoo I designed for the mystery solvers, in case they wanted to do the well, I don't even remember what the team with the shmoo was. It seems like they were yet another bunch of teenagers with some boys and girls in them.
Oh
But
man, there were so many of them.
but he looked like he was like half shmoo and half Gloop and Gleep from the Herculoids, so he wasn't legally the shmoo, but they didn't end up using it.
Fair enough. And why do you think that a cartoon about a mystery solving dog has held up for over 50 years now?
I just think that the character designs and the the character performances from the voice actors are so iconic. You know, they really resonated for some reason, and just that fact of having a group of tight knit friends like that, I think that's really what it's all about. You know, having that. You know, you can't pick your family, but you can pick your friends, kind of thing, and I don't know, something like that.
And what was your favorite thing about being able to work on a Scooby-Doo project?
Hmm. Um, I really liked I like designing Fred, and like drawing Fred in new outfits and stuff. That was a lot of fun. He became my favorite character in this series.
Oh, did you do the in the Humongonauts episode, the gang's uniforms?
Yes, I did that. Yes, I love those uniforms so much. That's a whole nother reason they should have had action figures just to make those.
Definitely. I love those uniforms.
I think they're sort of like part Macross and like part Speed Racer or something. I can't remember exactly what I was looking at. It was something some 80s anime, I think.
Definitely. I think that covers all of the questions that I had written down for you. Is there anything else that you wanted to chat about at all?
I guess I can't think of anything offhand. Um, did you like Mystery Incorporated? You
I
said it's
do.
a
I really like
yeah.
Mystery Incorporated.
I watched some YouTube reviews after you asked me for the interview. They just happened to pop up on YouTube, and I was like, oh, okay. So, and like I watched them down the line, and they were all positive. So I was like, oh, that's good, I guess. I've never really interacted with the Scooby community at all, so this is kind of my first foray into it.
Awesome. Yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of people loved it, but then there was also a bunch of people who were kind of upset about the darker tone and bringing the relationships in and various different things like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's there's enough Scooby to go around, so like everybody can have their favorites. I like this one because I worked on it, and I think it turned out pretty good. So
And just before we end here, do you have any recent projects that you'd like to promote at all?
I don't have anything currently that's been announced yet, so I don't really have anything to talk about as far as current projects. Sorry.
No, no problem.
At some point, there will be another cartoon that comes out that I've worked on.
And if people want to follow what you're up to, where can they find you on social media channels?
I have a Twitter and Instagram, and they're both just Derrick J Wyatt, all one word.
Perfect. Yeah, I think that covers all of the questions that I had. Thank you so much for chatting with me today, Derrick.
Oh, thank you. This has been a lot of fun.
And that concludes today's episode. Another huge thank you to Derrick J. Wyatt for taking the time out to chat with me. For more groovy content, be sure to check at Unmasked SD on Twitter, at Unmasked SD Podcast on Instagram, or at unmaskedsdpodcast.com. You can also find the podcast on Facebook under the Unmasked History of Scooby-Doo podcast. If you like this episode and want to hear more, also make sure to check those social media channels or the website. Or you can listen to older episodes wherever you like to get your podcast fix. And if you want to follow Derrick, you can find him on Twitter and Instagram at Derrick J. Wyatt. Thanks for listening, and stay tuned for the next and last episode in this month's Mystery Incorporated theme, which features director and producer Victor Cook. Scooby-Dooby-Doo!